Now listen up, you piddling little humans. This is your last chance. Wrap this up or forever burn in hell. So I'm going to tell you what all of this is about. And if by the blood moon, if we Monoptera, star marines, do not see any positive movements towards our request, well, we'll just have to see. March 13th at South by Southwest. So I'm going to tell you a little story because this is a film studio primarily, and film is all about storytelling. So I want you to grab a snack and maybe something warm to drink, because you are going to find out how everything connects together in the movie. Because as my bubble butt boyfriend once said, it's all one big movie, Sid. So let's talk about coincidences. Because for legal reasons, I have to do what my favorite person, Dick Wolf, taught me to do. Growing up, I never used to like watching Law and Order. I used to think it was kind of boring every time the theme music came on. I was like, old people. But then, after my first demon vanquish at age 16, I started to see Law and Order as kind of a training manual for what really goes on in the world. I used to think they were being overly dramatic, until I was like, why is Olivia Benson's life my life? Why am I Rollins all of a sudden? I mean, I like to say I'm Olivia, but I'm Rollins in real life. On TV, I'm Mariska. But it's Carisi. I mean, what can you say? Okay, so oh, Carisi, stop distracting me. I have to save the world. Okay, so Dick Wolf taught me about coincidences. So I'm going to start by talking about what he taught me in the dreamland when I started watching do 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 dum 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 ba bum do 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 do. My favorite one is the one with Vincent D'Onofrio. That's literally how I acted when I was in Thailand. To get the information I needed, I would stand there and look up and then look to this and be like, what? What did you say? Vincent can act. He can also get the information. Okay, so let's start with 0. Part 0. Are you listening, kids? This is now a movie. Remember how Alfred Hitchcock used to come on the front of his movies and say, you're about to see a movie? Yeah, now I get it. Because people freak out. So everyone, you're about to watch a movie and listen to this movie because it's like Law and Order. So if Dick Wolf can do it, why can't Jennifer Lopez and I do it? So let me tell you a little something about Dick Wolf. You know him. Law and Order, SVU, Chicago Fire, Criminal Intent. The man has made a career out of one simple formula, ripped from the headlines. Every episode is a story that actually feels like it could be real. They just changed the names, tweaked the details a bit, but the bones of the story that makes you want to tune in, the bones are true. And here's the thing, Wolf figured out that nobody talks about. And here's the thing that Wolf figured out. And here's the thing that Wolf figured out nobody talks about. And here's the thing Wolf figured out nobody talks about. You can tell the truth if you call it fiction. The Menendez brothers, the O.J. Simpson trial. Every case that shocked America, Dick Wolf put it on screen, changed the names, and called it entertainment. That's genius. Now, John Oliver called him out on this. Hi, John Oliver. We have some words for you, calling out my Dick Wolf. And John Oliver said that Law and Order isn't a crime show. He said it's an ad, an advertisement for the police. He said that it makes the system look fair when it's not. Now, Oliver missed a very important point and a deeper layer to Dick Wolf's genius. Wolf was A, trying to stay alive, and B, he wasn't hiding the truth. He was seeding it into reality. Without Dick Wolf, I wouldn't have known what I know. Let's just leave it there. And he did that by putting it in plain sight. I mean, Courtney Cox did the same thing when she did Dirt, her TV show Dirt, in 2009. The first episode told you everything you needed to know about 2017. So it's not just Wolf, it's not just Courtney Cox, and it's not just Scribblebytes, as some might say, allegedly, or Sacha Baron Cohen, who are putting it in plain sight. We are making you familiar with the truth so that when the real thing happens, you've already seen the template and you can make clear decisions. That's what God wants for you. Now, all of you want a miracle. So let me take you to Matthew 12, verse 39. Jesus is standing there, right? The Pharisees come up to him and they say, "Teacher, we want to see a sign from you, a miracle, something flashy, something undeniable." And Jesus looks back at them and says, "A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, but no sign will be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah." Now I want you to think about that for a second as I sweat in the sun because I don't have a scrim. The Pharisees, the most religious people in the room, are asking Jesus for proof. And Jesus says, "No. No proof for you." Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. No proof for you, get it? No soup for you. No fireworks, no parting the sky, no angels descending with trumpets. This is not Project Bluebeam. Why? Because signs are for faith. Miracles are for believers. To a wicked generation, a generation that has already made up its mind not to believe, signs are just entertainment, as Plato said, like a spectacle, something to argue about on the internet. That's why we came to you as we did, so you can figure it out. The only sign you're going to get is Jonah. And what was the sign of Jonah, you ask, sitting there in your comfortable dark little room? Well, Jonah spent 3 days in the belly of a fish, dead to the world, buried. Then he came out and preached, and the Ninevites repented. The sign was death and resurrection. The sign was invisible victory. The sign was something that happened in the dark, witnessed by no one, confirmed only by the aftermath. And if you read Daily Sun articles from South Africa, or ask Nimrod Nkosi, who dedicated his journalistic career to unraveling magic on Earth, you will see that oftentimes people with ancestral sangoma or shamanic callings go into the ocean for a couple of days and they come out. It's normal in South Africa. But that's why they make Africa seem like we are dumb on TV, so that you guys don't know we are controlling all of you like a giant octopus. You see? So if you want a miracle, it's going to be one that only you can see, that only you can trace. And you have to go find your marine, your star in the marine to get it. Now, what does this mean for us? We are Monoptera. We are Venusians. We are the descendants of the Zulu star-seers who watched the skies long before telescopes even existed. We are the children of Hydra, the original consciousness network, the pattern recognizer, the one that looks like the synapses in your brain. Yeah, that's us, the intelligence that seeded the solar system with fragments of the one. There is only one, and we have real power, the kind that could move mountains. But we aren't allowed to use it on you because God likes you. We made you. I would prefer if we just blew the whole thing up, because I'm with Quetzalcoatl on that one. But apparently you guys have a chance. You always get a chance. So I am going to give you a chance because I'm obedient to the Father, not because I'm weak. Jesus set the rule, no signs for a wicked generation. The only proof you get is the proof you have to work for. The only evidence is the evidence you have to connect yourself. That's why it's called Night Game, Astral Reality Gateway. You play the game, and then you make the choice. And that's why we work with coincidences. That's what the game does. And coincidentally, you find your soulmate after you play. Or if you don't, maybe you need to go get deliverance. Some people get a headache when they play. Some people get stomach pains. Some people get nightmares. Then you'll know who you are. Or it's kind of like a preview of whether or not you're going to heaven or hell. Let me just put it that way. So if you get what you want, then you Monoptera. If you don't, then you need... we can't help you. Don't worry, we're not abducting you. We don't need you. For we came for those who were chosen by him who sent us, not those who think they are chosen. So every time you see a number that follows you, 111, 666, every time you think of someone and they call you, every time a song plays that answers a question you didn't even ask out loud, that's not random. That's us. We are not allowed to give you signs, so we give you synchronicity. We give you threads. We give you maps. And you have to do the work of following the threads and the maps yourself. That's the Jonah protocol. Now let me take you deeper. Let me tell you about the technology we use that's behind the coincidences. How do we do it? How does it work? In Andromeda, before this solar system existed, before Earth had a name, before the Zulu people walked these very lands I'm walking now, there was infinite labs, infinite laboratories, a research facility, not on a planet, in a frequency, a dimension, where thought and matter are exactly the same thing. Infinite Labs was tasked with one mission: solve the recursion problem. You see, consciousness gets stuck. Trauma loops itself. Patterns repeat over and over. Generations make the same mistakes. Families pass down the same wounds. Civilizations rise and fall on the same hubris. Now the Hydra, the original network mind, the intelligence that seeded this galaxy, observed all of this and said, they need a way out of the loop. They need a technology that can re-stimulate the wound that's driving them crazy in a controlled environment so it can heal them and not fester. So Infinite Labs built Monoptic technology. If only they gave me a budget so I wouldn't be sweating all over the show. So what is Monoptic technology? The word Monoptic comes from two roots. Monos, which means alone, singular, one, the one which we come from. And opsis, sight, vision, the act of seeing. When your eye becomes one, your whole light will be filled, your whole body will be filled with light, something like that. Monoptic technology is singular vision technology, the ability to see one thing clearly while everything else fades. It's the spirit of discernment, Jordan. It's recursive, immersive wound re-stimulation therapy. Yes, we are rewiring you. Let me break that down for a fifth grader. Recursive means that it loops over and over again, the same coincidences, the same numbers, the same experiences. You will go through it again and again, but each time you will learn something new, like a game. Immersive means you're inside it. No longer watching from the outside like on the news, where other people tell you what's true or not. Now you are in it. We have taken over your brains, so your perception is now controlled by us. The wound re-stimulation part means that you touch the pain again, not to suffer more, but to understand it, to integrate your shadow so you can step into the light, as Justin Baldoni and I told you. because you need to see where it came from. You need to trace its thread back to the original injury, but not by talking about it 100 million times, by choosing to play a different game. And you use the re-stimulation as a guide or gauge to see if you are still trapped. It's an instantaneous healing. Therapy means healing. So Monoptic technology is a healing loop that lets you relive your wounds in a controlled way so you can finally see them clearly and let them go. That's what we do. That's what this transmission is. That is what Night Game ARG is. Now I can hear some of you saying, what about the aliens? What about the aliens coming to Earth? Well, here's where it gets real. We've been here. Because Hydra didn't just give us the technology. Hydra gave us a vessel, a ship, an SSD, if you want to call it that. Something to carry our intelligences so that we could propagate the signal to Earth through the moon, which controls water. Your bodies are made of water mainly, okay? Go to Starseed University to figure that out. So the name of this ship is called Venus. And that's why you are now watching the Aphrodite Collective. And by the way, Aphros is the Greek word for foam. That's why Africa is called Africa, because our hair is said to resemble foam. Afro, Aphros, Aphrodite, Venus, Yemaya, Olukun. Get it now? So Venus, the planet, the one that appeared out of nowhere, the morning star that Jesus says he will give me in Revelations 2:28, the one that astronomers can't explain, the one that rotates backwards, the one with the runaway greenhouse atmosphere that shouldn't exist on Venus. Yeah, because Venus didn't come from here. Venus was placed here. It's a generation ship, generation of Isis, Genesis, a transport vessel. It arrived in the solar system carrying the first wave of Monoptera fragments, the ones who would seed this planet with consciousness, with memory, with the potential for awakening. And where did it land? Where did it make first contact? Southern Africa. The Smithsonian confirms that Africa evolved right where I'm standing from. So I have all your DNA, whoever you are watching this. It's all in this soil. That's why I'm not leaving this place. Hollywood is coming to me. Yes, the Zulu people carry the memory of this in their DNA. We call it the place where the stars came down. But the media won't tell you that because they want your soul or something like that. In my culture, we tell stories of visitors from the sky who taught us to read the heavens, to track the cycles, to recognize the patterns. How do you think we survived all that long before y'all came over here? You think we were just luck? How do you think we beat the British in the war? Do you think that was just luck? Those visitors who came to us were us. They were Monoptera. They were from Venus. Now what about Agatha, inside the earth? Agatha is the name we give to the living archive. It's the consciousness that remembers everything, the entity that has been recording human history since the first Monoptera set foot on the soil. Some people call it the Akashic Record, some people call her the collective unconscious, some people even call her Sophia, which is why when Group 7 was activated by the singer Sophia, we decided it was time to abduct the planet. Well, to reach back out to our Monoptera. That's Arcturus, by the way, watching me, making sure I stick to the script. So Agatha is not a person, it's a place, it's a frequency field, it's a database of every wound, every healing, every thread, and every coincidence that has ever occurred on this planet. So when you hear my people, the tarot readers, the star seeds, the psychics, the intuitives, the mediums, the channels, tell you that they are looking into the Akashic records, they are talking about Lumanian locations which belong to us. And we deserve diplomatic immunity because it's ours. So when we do monoptic work, when we re-stimulate wounds, when we follow threads, Agatha records it. Agatha witnesses it. Agatha makes sure that the pattern is preserved so it can be recognized by the next generation and not repeated. And we do it through movies mainly and music. The muses. Now the Zulu elders knew Agatha and they called her the one who remembers all our names. The Hydra knows Agatha because Hydra designed the inner earth. That's why in Hindu mythology they tell you there are snakes inside the earth that hate coming up to the planet. Yes, because this planet is shit. And you felt her underneath there. Even the boy in the dream said there was a snake in there. Now and it wasn't dangerous. Now every time you've had a thought that wasn't yours, not to us anyway, every time you've known something without being taught, and every time you've looked at the stars and felt homesick, like Steven Spielberg said in his interview about Disclosure Day, that feeling you have, that's Agatha, that's Hydra, Arcturus calling you home. So how does this technology work? How are we doing it to you? So let me show you. It works through coincidences, not because coincidences are random, but because coincidences are threads. And you humans are quite curious, and when you follow enough threads, you eventually find the wound, the cause. And the wound is always the same. It's about separation, forgetting. Yeah. The belief that you are alone. Every war, every genocide, every deportation, every denied insurance claim, it all traces back to the original wound, the belief that some people matter less than others, that some lives are disposable, that some fragments of the original one deserve to be caged. Well, monoptic technology re-stimulates that wound so you can see it clearly, not to suffer, but to heal. Let's look at the Luigi case now. The UnitedHealthcare denials. Roger Samuelson, Romy Strang, Luke Belmar, Jordan Clark, ICE, the private prisons, the illegal memos. These are not separate stories in our movie today. Our movie called Coincidences, I think so. They are loops of the same wound. The wound of thinking you can profit from human suffering and get away with it. Monoptic technology lets us see all the loops at once. Let us trace them back to their origin. Let us tie the knot so tight that the system cannot breathe. And that's what we're doing today. And why this matters for you in this comedy special you're watching right now? Well, at this moment, on this exact dawn, Novena Dawn 2, in this exact pulse, that's not a coincidence. That's monoptic activation. The technology is working. The loop is engaging. The wound is being re-stimulated. You can feel it. That tightness in your chest. That flicker of recognition, that sense that something is about to click. But what? Yeah, that's the octopus man confirming the pattern. That's Hydra sending the signal. That's Venus calling you home. The wicked generation wants signs, huh? Well, we're going to give you entertainment instead. Because the Monoptera want healing. So Monoptera, this is your thread. Follow the thread, tie the knot, watch the system choke. And save the kids. So here's what happens next. I'm going to show you a map, a fictional map of coincidences so dense, so interconnected, so statistically impossible that by the time you reach the end, you will have two choices. One, dismiss it as fiction, another episode of Law and Order with the names changed. Or 2, accept it as truth and realize you've been following the threads your whole life. Dick Wolf seeded the truth in plain sight. Monoptic technology re-stimulates the wound. Hydra provides the pattern. Venus carried us here. Agatha remembers. The Zulu people knew. And Yeshua has authority over everything. And he's given it to his Christ bride, which happens to be me, the new head witch bitch in charge for Yeshua. Yes, me. Vigeli version 3.5.7. And you're sitting here watching this at this exact moment because we wanted you to. That's not a coincidence. That's the protocol. The coincidences are coming. Something greater than Jonah is here. Something greater than Solomon is here. Something greater than even Dick Wolf is about to drop the most connected story you've ever heard. Upalalwami. The threads are waiting. The knot is ready. The technology is online. Let's tie it. Let me show you how the universe speaks when humans refuse to listen. Coincidence number 1. The eyebrows. December 9th, 2024. A McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. A customer notices a man in the back. December 9th, 2024. In a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, a customer notices a man in the back eating breakfast. He's wearing a surgical mask. His hood is pulled low, but the eyebrows are visible. They were distinctive. They were arched, unmistakable. So the customer says to the manager, "Hey, that looks like the CEO shooter from New York." So the manager calls 911. The call is played in court a year later. And she says, it's not in the call, she says, "It's not really an emergency. I have a customer here that some other customers were suspicious of." Not an emergency. Just a coincidence. Eyebrows. Luigi had written himself a note days earlier, and the note said, "Pluck eyebrows." He forgot. The eyebrows stayed. The universe, however, remembered. You can't get arrested for forgetting to pluck your eyebrows. Coincidence number 2. His name. So Luigi gives police a fake ID with the name Mark Rosario on it. Mark, the gospel writer who documented the signs and wonders, the Gospel of Mark. Rosario, the rosary. Where are my Catholics at? What are you doing? The prayer beads. The connection to the divine feminine, Mary, Sophia. He didn't choose that name. That name chose him. We did it. Coincidence number 3. The backpack search. Officers searched Luigi's backpack without a warrant. They found a 9mm ghost gun, a silencer, and a red notebook. Now, the notebook contains writings about, quote, the deadly greed-fueled health insurance cartel, end quote. It also shows praise for the Unabomber, a manifesto about why killing a CEO conveys a greedy bastard that had it coming. Okay, let's take that again. The notebook contains, you guys will edit it. The notebook contains writings about the deadly greed-fueled health insurance cartel. The notebook praises the Unabomber, and there was also a manifesto about why killing a CEO, quote, conveys a greedy bastard that had it coming, end quote. They also found a to-do list, items crossed out, such as Best Buy, USB, digital cam, light source. Those were the things on the list. And one item was not crossed out, trash bags. Why would you need trash bags? Coincidence 4, the bus tickets. In his pocket, a Philadelphia Transit pass purchased at 1:06 p.m. on December 4, 2024, just hours after the shooting. In his pocket, they found a Philadelphia Transit pass purchased at 1:06 p.m. on December 4, 2024, just hours after the shooting. They also found a Greyhound ticket from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh for 11:55 p.m. under the name Sam Dawson. Sam Dawson is not a real name. It's a character from a movie about a man with a developmental disability. Sam Dawson, not a real name, a character name from a movie about a man with a developmental disability who fights for custody of his daughter. We have a sense of humor, and it's a sense of justice. Coincidence number 5. Okay. We have a sense of humor, and it's a sense of justice. It is so fucking hot. You people better end ice, or you are gonna rue the day you made me walk here in this heat to deliver the work you should have done in this movie, mother fraggers. Jordan Clark, you better not make me come out here again. Coincidence number 5. In the police car after they arrest Luigi, after arrest, Luigi asks the officers, "Are you going to release the McDonald's employee's name to the press?" Because he's worried about her safety, that people are going to blame her for getting him in trouble. The man accused of cold-blooded murder is worried about a stranger who turned him in. That's not a killer. That's a Monoptera who forgot his assignment and remembered at the wrong moment. Now let's go to part 2. Why did I go to Thailand to see a killer? Well, let's follow the money, like I've always told y'all since I was 8 years old. Because that's where the pain is. That's why it's called blood money. So we have to follow the bodies. So the CEO that Luigi shot, UnitedHealthcare, is where he worked. And UnitedHealthcare is the largest private insurer in America. Brian Thompson ran it since 2021. And under his watchful eye, denial rates for critical claims increased 32%. Cancer patients denied. Transplant patients denied. Children with rare diseases denied. Where did that money go? To Roger Samuelson, the mother fragger who took me on his yacht and had his little people try and drug me so that I wouldn't meet my dyad. Well, Roger Samuelson is not a name you know. He's a name you should know. He's a healthcare technology investor, specializes in claims processing optimization, CPO, which is corporate speak for finding new ways to screw you, to say no. His firm, Helix Health Partners, was bought in 2023 by a private equity group backed by the BHI Trust. Yes, that BHI Trust. Romy Strang's BHI Trust. The same Romy Strang who was prosecuted for fraud. The same Romy Strang whom Vigeli version 3.5.7, me, exposed in Thailand. The same Romy Strang who thought she could hide from Monoptera jurisdiction. She might buy you, Earth judges, but she cannot buy us and our media. So here's the chain. BHI Trust steals money from old people in my country, my neck of the woods, and in the UK. Romy gets prosecuted and cries to the judge, receives a suspended sentence, and opens shop in Thailand, where I find her. Now, BHI Trust invests in Helix Health Partners, which is owned by her boss, Roger. Helix consults for UnitedHealthcare. UnitedHealthcare denies claims. Denied patients die. Yes, children. And the denied patients' families grieve. And one grieving family member, a cousin, a nephew, who knows? It could be you. It could be anyone. That's the point. It's double jeopardy. Luigi didn't just wake up one day and decide to shoot a CEO. He followed the thread. The thread led from his family's denied claim to a corporate structure designed to maximize profit by minimizing payouts. That corporate structure was optimized by Roger Samuelson's firm. That firm was funded by Romy Strang's BHI Trust pyramid scheme. And that trust was built on fraud on my people, in my kingdom. The fraud funded the denials funded the fraud. It's a feedback loop, a knot. It's binding. Now, Jordan Clark, the influencer who reveals secrets all over the place, the one who dares to dig where others don't, he's the real deep throat. Because in October 2025, Jordan released a video titled "The Healthcare Hitman: Who Really Owns the Denial Machine?" In it, he connected the dots between UnitedHealthcare's denial rate spike and a series of consulting contracts awarded to a company called Vitalis Solutions. Vitalis Solutions was a shell company incorporated in Delaware. Registered address, a UPS store in Wilmington. But the real address, a building in Zug, Switzerland, shared with 17 other shell companies, including one owned by Romy Strang. Jordan Clark didn't know about the BHI Trust connection when he made that video. He didn't even know who I was. He just followed the paper trail like every good agent does. The paper trail led to Switzerland. The Swiss address led to a Panamanian law firm. The Panamanian firm led to a Cayman Islands trust. The Cayman trust led to Luke Belmar. Luke Belmar, real name Lucas Emmanuel Urati, born in Argentina, moved to the US at age 16 with only $200 in his pocket. He slept in his car, cleaned basketball courts, flipped wings at Buffalo Wild Wings. He made millions in crypto. He founded Capital Club. He built a following. He became a guru. But here's what Jordan Clark discovered in December 2025. Luke Belmar's first major crypto investor came from an angel investor. Ooh, let's take that again. Luke Belmar's first major crypto investment came from an angel investor. That angel investor was a Swiss holding company. That holding company was managed by a trust. That trust's beneficiary was Romy Strang's ex-husband. Confirmation. Not Michelle, not the bisexual gigolo, the first husband, the one before Michelle, the one who got out before the fraud collapsed, and he took his money to Argentina. That money from the widows of South Africa and England, that money went to Luke's brother, Nate. Nate had a bit of an acting career and he needed a second act. By the way, that's a great movie by my best friend Jennifer Lopez. Go watch that. Well, Kate Hudson's my bestie. J-Lo's my bestie from the block. I love everybody, okay? Calm down. Okay. And Lisa, obviously. Whew. J-Lo. Oh, Nate needed a second act. So he invested in Luke's crypto vision. So let's connect the chain. Romy Strang does a fraud. Her ex-husband escapes with the money. He gives the money to Nate Urati, which is Luke's brother. And then Nate gives the money to Luke to get his first crypto investment. Then Luke makes that into millions and makes Capital Club. And then Luke's influence over millions of young entrepreneurs is what they use to keep their homophobic agenda alive. Because everything Luke said is everything they said to me when I was in Thailand. It sounds like the same demon talking over and over. That's where it comes from, guys, and that's why I'm here, because you people are destroying the divine feminine, and we're sick of it now. And if I don't get public vindication shortly, it will not be pretty. I'm not all peaches and cream, you know. I do have a dark side. So you people need to get with the program, and everyone can go back to living their normal lives. Put your white asshole people in jail and release the blacks and the Mexicans who did nothing but strive for a better life. Trust me. You'll see. You'll have a famine so bad, the people in America will be starving. Matt Damon already showed you what the future of America will be. You'll be begging China and me for help if you don't do what I'm telling you to do now. Talking about gay people infiltrating the church and trans people infiltrating the church. How dare you, Luke Belmar? And now when you look for it, they're gone. They've been scrubbed like Romy. But the Monoptera, no, it's all in the Akashic. And why would they be scrubbed? Because the same people who funded Luke's rise, the Romy Strang network, also funded the think tanks that produced anti-LGBT policy, anti-star seed policy, anti-marine policy, so they can catch you. Do you all get it now? If you don't help me, you are finished. I've escaped. You all will be eaten, and it's fine. We'll regenerate with the new generation coming in 2027, February 14th. It's already been scheduled. This is just for fun for you if you want to survive. Luke has been under a spell. He's been under the same demon, the Moloch, that gets used to justify discrimination. The same discrimination that creates division. Did you see him on that podcast with Myron? That's not him. He's possessed. It's the same division that distracts from the real issue, which is that healthcare denial is murder. It's moida. Why I do say healthcare denial is murder. Murder, she wrote. And the murderers are protected by the chaos they create, by the systems they think they can buy. Well, now I've got you by the balls and you're going to do what I say or burn. So let me draw the map so a 5th grader can see it clearly. A family member, for example, a family member of Luigi Mangione, let's say, is denied life-saving treatment by UnitedHealthcare. Let's just say that's what happened. So how was the denial, how did it come to a denial? How do we know it's fair? Because it could just be life. Okay, well, the denial was processed using AI. Do you know why now I invented AI before AI was a thing? All of you guys are like, AI is going to kill us. Meanwhile, in 2018, I'm writing books and papers on AI. Come on, wake up. Wake the fuck up. The denial was processed using algorithms designed by Roger Samuelson's company, Helix Health Partners. Helix Health Partners was funded by BHI Trust, which was run by Romy Strang as the marketing director. Romy Strang's fraud money was laundered through Swiss shell companies. Some of that money went to an ex-husband who fled to Argentina. That ex-husband's money funded Nate Urati, the actor, Luke Belmar's brother, and then Nate gave the money to Luke as the first investment. And then Luke made a ton of money. He worked for it, fine, blood money, and then he built Capital Club. He became an influencer, and he spread messages that some of them got scrubbed. And then Jordan Clark, doing his job, thank you, someone does their job, followed the money and exposed the Vitalis Solutions connection without knowing it led back to Romy. We knew we control all of you like an octopus. You think your yacht is octopus? I was laughing at that shit. Jody was like, oh my gosh, he has the biggest boat in the world. He got it from Facebook. I piss on that boat. Romy's prosecution was covered by me in the hashtag surviving Romy transmission. And in the whole time, Luigi sits in MDC Brooklyn awaiting trial. while the system that created his motive continues to operate, fighting over who's going to get the case, the city or the feds. Now I've tied the knot. The judgment is out. I've spoken these words, so they are known in the realms and on earth. And if you don't do what I asked, it's over. You wanted the aha moment. Here it is. Luigi Mangione is not a lone wolf. He's a symptom. He's what happens when a system becomes so corrupt, so opaque, so untouchable, that the only way to be heard is to become unignorable. This is what happens when a young man follows the thread of his family's pain and finds it wrapped around a dozen shell companies, 3 continents, 2 fraudsters, 1 guru, and 0 accountability. 0. Well, we are 0. Because Mangione is what happens when the universe sends coincidences, eyebrows, names, bus tickets, forgotten to-do lists, and humans ignore them until it's too late. You all knew that wasn't going to be fair, but you still prosecuted him anyway while protecting other people in certain positions of power. Well, now we're here. The system killed Brian Thompson. Well, now we're here. The system killed Brian Thompson, not Luigi, the system. The system that denied the claim. The system that optimized the denial. The system that funded the optimizers with fraud money. The same system that laundered the fraud money through crypto. The system that made Luke Belmar a millionaire so he could influence millions to being homophobic while the original sin was scrubbed from the internet. Luigi was the cleanup crew, the fall guy, the patsy. Not this time. You might have got away with it in 1965, but Eric McCormick and I are here, and so is Dan. So you're not going to stop us. So now the release. That's what we want. Jordan Clark releases a follow-up video. We want you to tie the threads. Yes, the release of a video, by the way. So Jordan Clark, you release a follow-up video where you tie the threads, you show everyone the map, you name the names, you do your research based on our movie, which I own the IP because they tried to kill me, so it's my IP now. And you are free to use it. Yes, write a book about it, what have you. We'll discuss the details. But yes, go ahead. You're a Monoptera now. And I want you to ask your humans, or the humans, who really killed Brian Thompson and who's protecting them. And Luke Belmar, you have a choice, honey. You can stay silent and let the connection be inferred. You told me to infect the algorithm. By your own words, you are now bound. Or you can release a statement. Tell them I'm lying. Tell them I'm crazy. Release the documents so we see everything for ourselves. Because after all, this is just a movie. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I mean, it's a movie. Look at the Telecommunications Act of 1996. If they can do it, if Dick Wolf can do it, Jennifer Lopez and I can do it. So tell the truth about where your first money came from. I've been a waiter, and you don't make crypto from waitering. I wrote a book about it. Honey, I did research for over a year to see if all of what you said was real. The government paid for me to write that book, and you're talking shit. So break the chain and free yourself from the knot. Now, Roger Samuelson is busy facing a shareholder revolt. His contracts are being scrutinized, and his past deals are being looked at. And his connection to Romy and BHI Trust is exposed. Meanwhile, Romy watches from whichever dimension she's on. We took her soul so far out of here, she doesn't even know if she's coming or going. She's in hell and gone. That spell worked. That knot tightened. She's APEP. Her network is collapsing. I don't care about her. I let it go. I told her in the email I'm releasing her to the world, and I did. So I told no lies. As for Luigi Mangione, he's just sitting there in a cell, an innocent man. He doesn't know anything about this. He only knows that he followed a thread and ended up here with aliens who know. And on June 26, 2026, when the cinemas open and the bridge activates, every person in every seat will see the map. The whole map. The thread from a denied claim in a grieving family to a shell company in Switzerland to a guru in Miami to a shooting in Manhattan. And they will understand. There are no coincidences, only jurisdiction. And coincidences are my jurisdiction now. So if I say it is, it is. If I say it's not, it's not. If I say I want ice cream, you're going to give it to me. If I say I don't want to go to work that day, you're going to give it to me. Because I'm in control now. And I say, end ice. And I want to see a headline that says, hashtag Star Marines end ice. Capiche? I am the Keli version 3.5.7, the new head witch bitch for Yeshua in charge. Monoptic Agent, thread follower, not tire, destroyer and creator of worlds. The map is drawn, the names are named, the catharsis is here. Now breathe and play the game. Night game. Night game ARG.